the stake boats, and really getting into their high strokes here. So oftentimes the crew will dedicate a certain portion of their race to just building the boat speed up from a dead stop, and then really using that adrenaline rush. You have the nerves going, you have some explosive energy, much like you might have in the weight room that you've worked on.
Explosive.
So you use those first strokes of your race to really take advantage of that energy store before you get into the main kind of race rhythm of your 1500. So these athletes are now coming into that race rhythm. Often the area of the race where you take kind of like punches, if this is a boxing match, you're throwing punches at your competitors just to kind of test the water, see how they respond. Some crews will be able to respond and say,
all right, here's a swing back.
I see you taking a move. I'm going to respond with one of my own. And some crews, especially in the double, where you don't have that coxswain to be aware of the movements of the field, it could be hard to actually respond in the moment, and you could be almost surprised or spooked, you could say. So we'll see how these crews respond in the middle 500.
Looks like that outside lane just trailing St. Andrews, slightly behind. I believe that is Connecticut Boat Club, followed closely by Mohawk Homeschool and then Port Jefferson.
So great leading group of 5 here with about contact on each of them. So you have some early front runners with maybe a little bit of open water within the first 5 crews, but then you have crews like here on the outsides, St. Andrews and Oak Neck, really kind of tying the field together.
Yeah, so that St. Andrews crew is looking to their right, and that Oak Neck crew is looking to their left, and they're just trying to see kind of where they play out, who's up, who's down. When do we save our move for?
A little bit of steering issue there from Oak Neck, the B entry here in lane 1. They're just going over the buoys for a few strokes there. So the buoys aren't very big, Megan. How big do you think they are? Maybe like if you put your hands together, like a big hamburger.
Big fist.
Yeah. So they're not very big, and they're just like a very soft plastic. Dogs love to chew on them.
Love them.
But even still, that little disruption, if you hit that with the blade of your oar,
when you're going this fast,
can really throw you off of your rhythm, can even knock the handle out of your hand, which can lead to a crab or just a moment of slowing on the boat speed. So really important to stay at least blades off the buoy line. You can have your oars over as long as you're not impeding the race of another crew, as you can see Oak Neck is doing right now.
But Connecticut Boat Club really leading the charge here, maybe just up on St. Andrew, but those two have started to separate themselves from our Oak Neck and then Port Jefferson and Mohawk Homeschool.
Yeah, Mohawk Homeschool is seeming to fall off the pace a little bit more than Port Jefferson is. They're almost bow to stern, so these athletes, while it might look like they're very far apart from our view, it's actually pretty close, just being one lane apart from another crew. You can really feel them with your peripheral vision. You can hear the boats moving with the oars coming in and out. The oars have this collar that locks into the oar lock, and you can hear that when you come to the finish, you come to the catch.
It's a nice little clunky clunk rhythm.
Yeah, there's a lot of sound going on that we don't quite get here from above, but you can really feel another crew that's next to you, and so you can really feel when you have open water next to you.
So I bet that Connecticut Boat Club is sensing just a little bit more silence than, say, Port Jefferson or Mohawk Homeschool, and they want to keep pushing away from that sound, pushing away from the blades of those other boats.
And kudos to Oak Neck. They've been really in this fight the whole time without that kind of sensory cue of where the other boats are. Their bow seat undoubtedly looking over, maybe every once in a while trying to stay internal and focused on the rhythm and matching here in her own boat. But really impressive to stay in the fight,
in a race,
even when you're really far apart.
Across.
Exactly.
In a four lane race.
And watch out, we got a move from Mohawk Homeschool. They were falling off the pace, but they seem to sprint early.
Here they come.
So often you'll see crews at least sprinting in the last 250, these red buoys you see on your screen. Sometimes if a crew is down and needs to really get into the fight, they'll start that sprint early, meaning they'll bring the rate up, add some extra pressure, take some risks.
You can see that Connecticut Boat Club crew leading the way is doing just that. Pressure is up, rate is up. They know they have a little bit of room, but they want to keep pushing back. And then I think
St. Andrews has a good
St.
couple
Andrews.
of seats.
Yep.
Maybe one seat up on that crew over in lane 1, Oak Neck, their B entry.
Got to stay clean through this finish. You get excited, and those blades.
It's not a guarantee. If you bring the rate up, but it becomes less effective, it actually might have served you better to stay a little bit lower. Looks like St. Andrews really just trying to throw everything at it.
St. Andrew.
There's Oak Neck across the line. And then watch out for Mohawk really pushing through Port Jefferson here.
Yeah, that's going to be a...
They have almost open water, but not quite. But quite the impressive sprint there from Mohawk Homeschool.
I actually believe that is Port Jefferson over Mohawk. 5 over 4.
You're right, Megan. You're right.
Yep.
Still, Port Jefferson was down.
Was
that
down?
lane 5 was
Yep.
far down
Yep.
right before that sprint began.
And we've got our final 2, which looks like they've had connection almost that whole race, so hopefully a good competitive environment.